Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So in this video I want to talk to you about my preview of Rocket Lab earnings, and unfortunately it looks like we have a double miss incoming. And no, this is not clickbait. I'm unfortunately actually serious, and it's kind of brain dead from Wall Street. So I'm gonna start with that, and then I'm going to go over the state of Rocket Lab and what I'm expecting on the earnings call, and then in the last one, what I think is going to move the stock price up and what can potentially crash the stock price. And to be honest, I normally with Palantir make these videos about what I think the stock is going to do on earnings, and usually I'm wrong. Sometimes I'm correct. The last earnings I called it very correctly that I thought Palantir was going to shoot up above $20, but full transparency, I've been very wrong. Now with Rocket Lab, I feel like it can go both ways. Like we might get a plus 15-20% day if the earnings call goes good. Maybe we will get a nothing burger day. The stock doesn't do anything, and we can also get a minus 15% day because the algos and certain things on the double miss. So I would tend to think that we will get a nice upside after the earnings, but I really don't know. It's a coin toss at this point. It's going to be a nail biter, and I'm going to be live during the earnings, hopefully with Matt. And I don't know if it's going to be on his channel or my channel, so make sure you follow on X so that you see on which channel we do this. So let's begin the video. Make sure you're subscribed and let's go. So Rocket Lab has pre-released their numbers on the 31st of January in this 8K filing. This is their media release, not the 8K filing, but they also released this as an 8K filing, in which they tell you the numbers. These are unaudited numbers, and they give ranges because I guess certain things depend on if the auditor approves how they calculate it or how they don't calculate it. But the point is, you kind of know what the numbers are. And today I got an email by my broker, Interactive Brokers, and you can see that they told me one of my stocks is having earnings and we can expect big moves. And they said we have a consensus EPS and a consensus revenue. And the reason why this is so brain dead is because the numbers have been out for almost a month, and you can see, according to this, the consensus revenue is 63.8 million, and they said that the range is between 59 to 61 million. Now, don't ask me why this has not been updated, but if this is the consensus, it's going to be a big miss tomorrow. Again, this is a brain dead thing. I'm not going to do the math for you on the consensus EPS. I looked at how much net loss they had here, divided it by the shares they give it, and the number that I got was a 10-cent loss. So that's going to be a second double miss. Sorry, that's going to make the double miss, and it's just pure brain dead. I'm not sure that this is going to have any effect on what the stock is going to do after earnings, because Rocket Lab, we kind of knew that they were going back to launching the Electron after a failure, and this quarter was anyways not so important. It's more like their future guidance, and if Neutron is being on time, these are the things that really matter at this point, when they're going to be cash flow positive, what is the acquisition that they're going to do. But Wall Street has been so freaking irrational about this stock. So it could be that, the news comes out, it's a double miss, and, the algos go crazy and we have minus 15%. I can't control it, guys, but just showing you what's there. So what do I want to hear on the earnings? So first of all, Electron, if the 5 launches are still possible in this quarter, and they very well look like 4 launches have been announced, and the latest launch between 2 launches has been 20 days. We have a Wallops launch in Virginia, and we have a New Zealand launch on March 10th. And if you add 20 days, so that means that there's a room on March 30th or 31st, which is quite tight. but they have had that delta before launches, so it's very, very possible. I don't think it's a very big needle mover, but I want to have an update on that. We know from previous conferences and interviews with Adam Spice that they are not really going for reusing Electron this year, because they're focusing on Neutron, and they're going to refly the 9 engines together, but probably not a full booster, and this is fine by me. So I hope to hear updates on this. Now, Neutron, the Archimedes hot fire test should be imminent. Adam Spice in the Cohen Space Conference said that it's going to happen at the end of this quarter or the beginning of next quarter. They did change the wording on Neutron, because we are sort of expecting that Neutron is going to fly, but he said that Neutron is going to be integrated on the pad, which I guess is almost the same thing. But it's funny how they play with the wordings sometimes. And in the City Conference where Adam Spice was talking, the interviewer specifically asked him, like, what's the deal with you saying on the pad? And he said, yeah, if we only make it that it's on the pad, then it will, fly very shortly after. So for me, it's practically the same thing. I don't care if in 2024 Neutron is on the pad and then it takes 3 more weeks to fly. For me, that's, it's the space industry that we're talking about, and that's kind of still on time for me. But that's me. Let me know in the comments what you think. But this is what I want to hear about. Also, would be very, very nice if we get an update on how they are planning to scale Neutron from Peter Beck. Again, on the City Conference, Adam Spice said something that was crazy bullish. He said that what they're modeling is 1 launch in 2024, 3 launches in 2025, and 8 launches in 2026. That's way more bullish than my own model. And I think that could be a stock mover if they're able to reiterate it and reassure us investors that there is a good demand for Neutron, because I think the Wall Street investors are wondering, like, why are there no contract announcements for Neutron? Does this mean that there is no demand? And is this trouble in the future to come? So it would be a very big mover if they would announce customers, or if they could somehow reassure Wall Street that they see that there is very good demand, which Adam Spice says in his interviews that's what they're seeing. So shouldn't be impossible. The next thing, again, it's so interesting that coming into this earning, the numbers are pre-released, and Adam Spice has been so freely speaking on both the TD Cowen conference and on the City conference that it feels like we have had this earnings call, but maybe it will be different when it comes from Peter Beck, or maybe it will be hit differently when it's on an official setting. So Adam Spice said on these conferences that the EBITDA profile will be in 2024 basically the same as in 2023. So I guess that's not so good, because it's neither an increase or a decrease. I guess it's good that it's not a decrease, so they're not going to make more loss than they have. But what's really good is he said the second half of 2025 is going to be a turning point from a cash flow generation viewpoint. So now I basically said exactly the words that he used. The way I understand it is they're going to be cash flow positive, or they're going to have huge steps into that direction. Notice he didn't word by word say cash flow positive. So it's to me, it's the same as like having an integrated Neutron on the pad or launching a Neutron. So potato. But the point is, if this could be reiterated, I think it would be very, very bullish for the stock. I am kind of expecting that they're going to announce what the acquisition is. The reason why I am thinking that is because to be able to raise the capital, you probably went into negotiations with the entity that you are going to take over. And for the bankers or for the financiers that give this loan, you probably have to present a business plan. It's kind of not easy to get a blank check. So I think that they must have a very good idea, and the negotiations must be very, long and very deep. And I think it's more likely than not that they're going to reveal what the acquisition is. We know that it might be a payload or something to do with the bus. And I actually saw a video by Scott O, fantastic YouTube channel. He's a smaller creator, so I mean, I'm also a very small creator, but he's smaller than me, so you guys can go and check out his channel. Very good channel. He is basically sure that whatever they announce, if it's a specific thing, like let's say it's a cell phone antenna manufacturer for space, or you know, an imaging company for space, it will give us clues on what the infrastructure business is that they're looking at. And I agree with this viewpoint, because if they acquire a very specific, you know, payload manufacturer, that is going to be some clues about what they're planning in the future, and that would be very, very exciting. So these are the things that I'm expecting to hear from. Now, as promised, what are the things that I think could move the stock up big time? So it is confirming that Neutron is on time. If they would announce Neutron customers or a customer, that would be very, very bullish for the stock. If they would announce what the acquisition is, and it's a smart acquisition. So let's say that they lay out that they signed contract with C&So company and they're getting the whole company for, you know, 20 cents on the dollar, and it's only 100 million, you know, to acquire this company, and they have all this cash left over from the acquisition. I think that would be very, very bullish. We're gonna come back to this on the flip side. If they would reiterate that they're going to be cash flow positive from 2025, and then now there is no more dilution coming, you know, no more capital needs to be raised. They're very confident in this target. I think that will be a very, very big boost to the stock. And the last thing that I think could make the stock shoot up is if they guide in like really, really good for space systems. So this quarter, Q1, which is practically almost 66% of it is gone at the time of the conference. So if they reiterate that this is going to be $100 million a quarter, insanely good for the stock. And if they keep that guidance for the whole year, so they are saying that space systems is doing insanely good, and we're going to have 100 million quarters and maybe 100 million plus quarters the whole year, that would be very, very bullish for the stock. Now, what can make the stock plummet after earnings? So one of them is that Rocket Lab is one of these stocks that is, I don't know how, like investors don't really look under the hood. And if this is going to be traded on algos, and you know the news comes out that this is a double miss, this is not something that we can control or Peter Beck can control, maybe it will give a very big downward move on the stock. If they announce a Neutron delay, I really don't think that this is happening. I think that would be very, very bearish for the stock. And the third thing that I think would make the stock move down is if they announce some stupid acquisition. For example, my example of a stupid acquisition, which you guys can hate me in the comments or disagree with me in the comments, but there was a lot of people floating the idea that maybe they would take over Raycon, which is a New Zealand company that costs about 250 million US. And I can see where these rumors have started, because that company announced that they were approached by a secret party for a possible takeover, and they offered basically this it was 350 million New Zealand dollars. I don't know the conversion. I think it's 250 million US. However, if you look at the interviews that Adam Spice gave, he said that the reason why they wanted to raise the money now is because they can go bargain shopping. And he specifically gave the example that in the Virgin bankruptcy, they got, I think, 16 cents on the dollar. They could buy equipment that they actually really, really needed. Now, this Raycon, it would take all their cash that they raised from this money, or most of it, and it's not a deal. Like, Raycon is already a publicly listed company on the New Zealand Stock Exchange, and this price offer would be like a 70% overpriced. Not my definition of bargain hunting. But who knows? So the point is that if they announce some stupid acquisition, like let's say they take a money-losing company that takes up all their cash, the market is going to react very, very negatively too. But other than this, I don't think there's much that can make the price go down. So these are my predictions. My hope is that we are going to get a nice rally, and maybe I think it's likely that we get an acquisition announcement. I think it's likely that they're going to reiterate that they are going to be cash flow positive in 2025. I think it's less likely that there's going to be a Neutron customer announcement. If you put a gun to my head, I think the stock is going to go up after earnings, but it's a coin toss. And if it goes down because of the stupid algos, it's a fantastic buying opportunity. So I will post on X on which channel we will be live and when, and I hope to see you on the earnings. It's going to be fun. This is definitely a nail biter. Let me know in the comments what you thought, and may the force be with you. See you tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.